Brittany Murphy's name was still fresh in people's minds in the US in 2009, thanks to her innocent eyes and sweet smile. Hollywood was shocked to learn that she had died in her own home. A young, bright star who was big in the entertainment world in the early 2000s died all of a sudden at the age of 32. At first, a lot of people thought it was just a drug overdose. Still, the more people looked into her death, the scarier and stranger it seemed. Pictures of Brittany that have never been seen before and the real story of her life will make you question everything you thought you knew about Hollywood. Her birthday is November 10, 1977, and she was born at Georgia Baptist Hospital in Atlanta. The family moved from Atlanta to New Jersey when she was very young. Her father, Angelo Bertolotti, made the choice. Despite his best intentions, he put Brittany's family in the shadows of his past by moving closer to the children from his first marriage. These were not a clean link. Angelo used to be a man who had served in WFRU and was strong and tough, but he also had a lot of secrets. He had ties to the criminal scene that never really went away. Brittany's mother, Sharon Murphy, stepped up right away to protect her daughter when those dark shadows started to creep into her youth. She asked for a divorce and stopped anything that could put Brittany in danger. From that point on, her father slowly became a memory of the past and something she didn't know. But soon after, a different kind of dream filled that empty area. Brittany went to a restaurant with her mother when she was only 5 years old to see two Hollywood greats, George Segal and Burt Reynolds. She walked up to them right away, smiled, introduced herself, and told them with confidence that she would be a star one day, just like them. That talk wasn't silly. It made me think of what would happen to her. Brunel was 13 years old in 1991. She could no longer hold on to her dream in New Jersey because it had grown so big. In Los Angeles, she heard about art, fame, and lots of chances. She asked her mother if they could move there. Sharon didn't think about it for a second. More than anyone else, she had always had faith in her daughter. After that, they both left and went to Hollywood to start a new life. As soon as she stepped foot in the so-called promised land of dreams, it was clear to Brittany that nothing would ever be easy. Small parts on TV came and went. The young actor had to be patient for 4 long years before she finally got a chance that would change her life. That chance came in 1995 with Clueless. When Brittany first came out, this movie made her a big star, and everyone in Hollywood took notice. She was only 17 years old when she played Ty Frazier. Due to rules for young artists, her mother had to be on set with her at all times. Sharon was more than just a formal guardian, though. She was Brittany's only safety net in Hollywood, which was both glamorous and dangerous. Things went wrong for Brittany in 1995, just as her career was starting to take off. It was found that her mother has breast cancer. A young girl found herself overnight torn between 2 worlds. She spent her days filming and her nights taking care of her mother on movie sets and in hospitals. Brittany didn't deserve to be tired, and she didn't do anything to be like other teens. Later, Brittany's director Amy Heckerling said that she handled everything like a real pro. It's too bad that this was just the beginning. Everything outside of her power could now become a threat to not only her job, but also her life. One of Murphy's most praised parts wasn't even one that most people thought of when they thought of her. Lan Platter from the long-running cartoon show King of the Hill. Lan was unforgettable because of how well Brittany's innocence, sass, and underlying weakness fit with the character. When fans think of lines like Uncle Toggy, my practice hairhead has real hair on it, they still laugh. Don't touch, Lan begs, and her voice sounds like a young woman trying to protect something important she still has. Brittany continued to show that she could compete with Hollywood's biggest stars in roles other than cartoons. She was in Girl Interrupted, 1999, with Angelina Jolie and Winona Ryder, who were at the time the biggest stars in the business. Brittany made critics stop, take notes, and look at her with a whole new level of respect, even though she wasn't in the lead part. Music. When Brittany entered the 2000s, she had a lot of demands. She was eager to show that she wasn't just a cute sidekick, not just a character, but a real Hollywood leading star. It was nice to see her in Tinseltown. But it also had traps ready to catch anyone who wasn't careful. Some of her movies did well, which helped her get ahead. Others failed so badly that it made her feel scared. The worst blow came from the movie Cherry Falls, which came out in 2000. Brittany played the lead role in a very violent and emotional movie about a killer who targets teens who are still virgins. It reached its shocking peak with a mass scene that caused so much controversy that the movie couldn't be shown in theaters. The movie was never shown on a big screen again. She lost a moment that should have put her in the focus, leaving her career in a silence she didn't want. Brittany was trying to get back on her feet when she was hit with another hard test from life. Sharon's mother had a very bad return of breast cancer in 2003. Brittany didn't think twice about stopping all of her plans. For one day at a time, she fought for hope with her best friend in the world. Thankfully, her mother made it through surgery and kept living. Even when things were bad, Brittany always had one big fan in the film critic community. Roger Ebert, who was one of the most important speakers in Hollywood, often spoke highly of her. When a movie wasn't very good, like Don't Say a Word, 2001, he could still see Brittany's charm, wit, and the natural comic spark of a real star. That's a praise that any actor would love to hear. He said she looked like the famous Lucille Ball. Then Brittany finally got lucky when she got a part in 8 Mile. Because Eminem is so famous, it was a big deal that was felt all over the world. Brittany played his love interest, and the way they acted together made it seem like they were dating. She later said that they did go on a date after the movie came out. Brittany went to a whole new level after 8 Mile became a hit. The road ahead looked good for a moment, but success always comes with a high cost. Tabloids loved Brittany's thin body and wrote a lot about it. They said she had eating problems, used drugs, and lived a dangerous life. She refuted all the rumors right away. But in this line of work, rumors spread like wildfire once they start. She gave the cameras a smile. While she was working behind the scenes, her name was constantly being called into question. In her next movie, Just Married, she acted with Ashton Kutcher. Life copied art again, and the two started going out together. After 7 months, they broke up, and friends said Kutcher wanted to go back to being single. Brittany went on to have a string of relationships that all ended badly after that split. She met her boss, Jeff Quatinetz, in 2003. Because they were so into each other, he asked her to marry him after only a few months. In early 2004, they did not see each other again for another 4 months. Then a new part began with production helper Joe Maluso. Fans cheered when they said yes, and magazines wrote about how the girl from New Jersey would have a great future. Still, they were engaged for only 8 months before they broke up. She was always happy and funny on screen. Off-screen, Brittany had to deal with harsh criticism from fans and the press. Roger Ebert, a famous reviewer, always stood up for her, but other people were much meaner. The New York Times' Stephen Holden once said that Brittany was like a dumb Meg Ryan with a layer of Melanie Griffith on top. That kind of language really hurt her already weak confidence. Brittany felt very insecure because of the constant attention on her private life from tabloids, mean stories, and the public. Friends said she started to think she wasn't good enough, pretty enough, or smart enough. She was just right to be the star everyone wanted her to be. In the midst of all that mental chaos, Brittany met Simon Monjack in 2006. He wrote and directed movies in Britain, calm, sure of themselves, and charming. Brittany was interested right away after reading one of his new plays. She reached out to him to tell him how much she admired him. After just ending a marriage, Monjack quickly showed interest in her again. Their relationship started out of the blue, like in a romance movie. For Brittany, he was not at all like the other guys who had come before. He said he was smart and had a lot of experience, and he kept saying he was rich. But behind that smooth exterior was a very troubled life. Everyone who knew Monjack had a bad story to share. He took bad checks, shady deals, unpaid bills, and angry ex-partners with him everywhere he went. He owed his ex-wife several months of rent and was wanted for credit card fraud before he met Brittany. He had also been kicked out of 4 different houses. Others were scared because Brittany decided to ignore the truth as it came out. No matter what, she fought hard to protect Monjack's image. She gave him $10,000 to help settle a case when he was in trouble with the law. She gave up everything because she loved him. During the first few months, they were almost never apart. One thing, though, could not be hidden. While living in the U.S., Monjack's visa had run out. He was arrested in February 2007 for infractions of immigration law. People close to Brittany were even more worried after the shock. Brittany thought she knew what not to do after 2 broken engagements. This time, she and Monjack only had one thing to say. They married behind closed doors in May 2007. That point should have been the best one. Instead, friends found out later that it was the start of a strange new episode. In scary ways, Monjack became nervous. He claimed that they were being watched by an unknown force, and that someone had put listening devices on their phones. The couple grew more and more paranoid over time, which made them spend less time with family and friends. The only one who didn't was Brittany's mom, Sharon, who stayed with them. Monjack's crazy behavior and bad image may have been the reason why Brittany's career slowed down. British singer Brittany and her family say that the tabloids' claims of drug abuse were very ironic. She had once said that taking stimulants was dangerous for her because of a heart problem. She only ever drank one glass of champagne every once in a while to rest. But people always thought lies were more likely to be true than the truth. Brittany had lived in a fancy Hollywood Hills home that used to belong to Britney Spears since 2003. Many thought it was a sign of success, but for Brittany, it was more like a nightmare dressed up in glitz. Going home after work scared her to death. He always said no when she begged him to let them stay at the Beverly Hills Hotel for a few days to get away from the unseen fear. Brittany looked in the mirror in 2009 and didn't recognize herself. She chose to change. She planned to leave that scary house, move to New York, and start over with independent films in which skill was more important than scandal. She hoped that the new start would also help Simon get a job and stop being so anxious all the time. Things should have changed after that. Fate instead picked a darker path. They all went to Puerto Rico at the end of 2009 so Brittany could work on the caller. On the first day, Simon is asked to leave the set by the crew. Even now, the reason is different each time it is told. One thing is for sure. Brittany never made it past the first day of shooting. Some say she quit. Some say she was fired. The official paperwork says it was a choice made by both sides. Even though something went wrong, they stayed for another week to relax by the beach and feel better. That short happiness came with a secret risk. Sharon and Simon both got really sick with colds. Simon woke up in the middle of the trip back to the US in distress and stopped breathing. Brittany was the one who did CPR and saved him in the middle of all the chaos. The trip after that moment was very scary. Once more, tabloids were full of nasty rumors. Brittany was now not only sick and weak, but also mentally broken by being made fun of and judged. She started taking a lot of prescription drugs to deal with her symptoms, which included shortness of breath, asthma, and being completely worn out. Music Brittany was fighting for air on the night of December 19, 2009. She was scared, pale, and sweaty as she sat there. Sharon begged her to get help right away. She shook her head no. She didn't want to be another shocking news story. She was afraid the media would make fun of her. She was worn out and couldn't fight anymore. She stayed quiet because she hoped things would get better tomorrow. On Saturday night, she finally decided to make an appointment with the doctor for Monday. Sadly, she would never be able to make it to that meeting. The power went out at the house early in the morning on December 20th, 2009, and the backup generator didn't work. Brittany begged her mother in a sad voice to help her. "I'm dying, Mom. I love you." She knew that the end was coming soon, in about an hour. Her mother later said through tears, "No, sweetheart, no." Brittany was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center by paramedics, but she had a heart attack and died just 2 hours after the 911 call. She was only 32 years old. An autopsy was done the next day by the doctor. Time went by too slowly. The official report came out 2 months later. Brittany died from severe asthma, anemia, and side effects from the prescription drugs she had been taking. The result was quickly agreed upon as the correct answer. People were sad. Beautiful memories of her were shared by co-workers. The noise of guessing started to go away. Still, tragedies don't always stop when we think they do. In the same room where Brittany's body was found 5 months after she died, her husband, Simon Monjack, was found asleep. He was already gone when the rescuers got there. The same causes were mentioned in his autopsy report: pneumonia and anemia. It was just too strange of a coincidence to ignore. Again, Hollywood was shook up. Bree's mother, Sharon Murphy, was the only one left in the house, and the pain was almost too much for her to handle. She was heartbroken when she lost both her daughter and her son-in-law in less than 6 months. In spite of that, the pain made her make one choice. She had to know the truth. Sharon told everyone about a shocking idea. She says that deadly mold buildup inside the homes caused both deaths. Many times, Brittany told her mother that she felt sick and nervous when she was there. But no one thought that the place they called home could have been a hell slowly poisoning them. Just as it looked like the story couldn't get any worse, someone else stepped forward. Angelo Bertolotti is Brittany's real father. He asked for chemical tests to be done on his daughter's hair and made an even scarier claim. He said that Brittany did not die of sickness or mold. He thought that someone had poisoned both her and Simon. Sharon Murphy, his ex-wife, was the person he thought it was. The media jumped on the story and made it into a huge family fight. Most news sites only talked about the fights between Brittany's parents and ignored the disturbing fact that Simon Monjack still thought they were being watched before he died. Monjack couldn't get rid of the thought that someone was watching them, until a woman spoke up. What he said sounded like a plot. Before Julia Davis, who works for the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, shared scary information. She once told everyone that dozens of people from countries on the terrorism watch list were coming into the U.S. without going through the right checks on July 4, 2004. Davis said she told the police, but they didn't listen, so she took her case to the FBI. She says that after that, DHS started to look into her and put pressure on her. Brittany, who is close with Davis, stood by her during the court case. That was the start of the actress's life getting worse and worse. Davis said the government put Brittany and Monjack on a list of people to watch, and even tried to remove Monjack, who was still a British citizen. Simon thought their phones were being hacked and that every time they left the house, someone was after them. Davis showed a lot of claims and proof in the 2012 documentary Top Priority, The Terror Within, that made it seem like Monjack's fears were not unfounded. What scared me the most was this. Brittany died just a few days after Monjack told everyone about the monitoring. When Brittany's father died in 2019 at the age of 92, the story got even wilder. The search for the truth by her half-brother went on. Even though it's been almost 15 years, Brittany Murphy's death is still a mystery thanks to sealed files, contradictory testimony, and ideas that overlap. Millions of people used to laugh at that young woman, but she may have spent her last days scared, being alone. We don't know if the truth is hidden away in a locked file or under strong lies. There is one thing that is certain. Brittany's smile disappeared too quickly, and there is still no clear answer. Perhaps the worst thing about the death is not that someone died, but the thought that the truth will always be hidden.